started lying lengthwise on the roller. So I'll take my roller with me back onto the mat. And if you have a shorter roller, I will provide the option for modification in just a moment. The easiest way to get on is to sit on the very end of the roller and then walk your hands behind you until you are lying down. Now, if your roller is not this long, make sure that at least your head and your upper back are on the roller. From there, you can place a pillow underneath your hips or even just hold yourself in a light bridge. So once you are settled on the roller in this position, walk your feet to a parallel alignment. You can even blink your eyes closed once you find your center. And go ahead and right away, allow your arms to open out to the side to take a gentle stretch across your chest. If this stretch feels like super intense, pulling, painful, walk your hands down a little bit lower towards your hips. And if you want to deepen the stretch, you can walk your hands up a little higher towards the height of the shoulders. Now notice if lying here, if your rib cage has lifted really high off the mat, you want to think of drawing your rib cage down. It's actually okay to have a small space under your lower back, but you do want to think of pressing the ribs into the mat. And that position will actually help you to feel a deeper stretch across the chest without actually bringing your hands any higher. You can also add a little tuck to your chin to lengthen the back of your neck. So this is a really nice way to check in with your posture. For many of us, this is going to feel a little funny, abnormal. It might even feel a little bit tight, but this is actually our spine's most neutral position, where we have our tailbone, our rib cage, and the back of our skull down on the mat. So we'll take a moment or two here just to let our body settle and take a stretch. Now, if you're on your shorter length roller, you're going to stay in this setup. But for those of you who are lying on a long roller, take the tips of your fingers down to the floor. So my arms are lifted, just the tips of my fingers are on the floor. And from here, we're going to try and march the legs off the mat one at a time. And this doesn't have to be a fast or big movement. I want you guys to try and stay as steady on the roller as you can. And you can see I am moving a little bit as I move quickly. So I'm going to slow down that pace to keep myself as steady and centered on the roller as I can. And you will find one side is probably a little bit harder than the other. So try exhaling as you lift that side to deepen the support from your core. Now, for those of you who've done this, they feel like this is fairly easy, lift one hand and then continue to march one leg at a time, seeing if you can do so without the support of your hands. And if you did that, maybe try your other hand, same thing, pressing the back of the ribs into the mat, keeping your shoulders relaxed. If you are really, really confident here and you want to practice, you can also lift both hands and give this a try. And what this looks at is the stability of your back when your legs are moving. So a good example would be walking when our legs are doing that alternating leg lifting motion. Another example is stairs, running, or jogging. We'll do 3 more here. That's it, guys. Last 2. And once more each side. Rest your feet down, and then we'll take that stretch across the chest once again. This time, if you'd like to reach your arms back behind you, you can do so here as well, as long as you are pulling your ribs down onto the mat behind you. And we'll take one more big deep breath in through the nose, and then a strong exhale, breath out through the mouth. Now, from this position, we'll roll to the side, gently coming off the roller. And there's really no graceful way to do that. I just recommend rolling to the side. We're now going to turn the roller perpendicular to your mat. And this is where if you have a shorter roller, now you can hop right into our regular program. We'll start with the knees bent, feet flat on the mat, and the roller is going to go right between your shoulder blades. I recommend that you hold the roller with both of your hands and then lower yourself down so the roller is just below your shoulder blades and you hold your head in your hands. Now, from this position, we're going to lift the hips up and start to roll along the length of your spine. And we're rolling really just on our upper back for right now. So what that means is that you can roll right to the base of your neck and then down to just below your shoulder blades. And the rolling that we do here right now serves a couple of purposes. This is one, to help us assess where are those tight spots in my back. And you can feel that it'll be a little different from person to person, but we are also getting a nice release of the muscles along the side of our spine. So just gently rolling back and forth, keeping your head heavy in your hands, feeling the pressure of both feet down into the floor. And if you find one spot that's particularly tight, you feel like you need to spend a little bit more time there, pause on that spot, place your hips down, and then gently drape your spine over the shape of the roller. As you're draping your spine back, can you keep pulling the ribs down, closing the space between the ribs and hips, which will help you take a deeper stretch in the upper back. We will then continue, go back to that rolling, and if you feel that you find another tight spot, you can pause on that one, place your bottom down, and then lean back once again. Now we're going to add in a couple of dimensions of movement here. So let me come up so I can show you guys. You can keep rolling. If you would like, we'll add some side bending, which is tipping your elbow towards your hip. We will also add some rotation, and that just helps you to get a little deeper into your thoracic spine. So as you're rolling back and forth here, we'll start with side bending, and we're going to tip the right elbow towards the right hip. So just gently rolling back and forth, right elbow towards the right hip, and that helps to open up your left side body. So you can try the same thing, bringing your left elbow towards the left hip, and that opens your right side body. And you might feel that one side needs a little bit more attention than the other, and that's okay. You can be a little bit asymmetrical here and try working a little bit more on the side that feels like it needs it. That second dimension we can add in here is the rotation. So that's going to be turning one elbow up to the ceiling, one elbow down towards the floor. That's going to get a little bit more into your lat muscle, which is actually a shoulder muscle that has attachments all the way down to your lower back. So this one can be tender. You can actually rest your hip down if you need a little bit of extra support, or just practice rolling front to back. And I encourage you to check both sides and then maybe say, wow, I definitely need to spend a little bit more time on the right on this one. Or maybe you say, you know what, both sides feel good for me. I'm going to stick to that rolling right through the center. So whatever feels best for your body, go ahead and give that a try here. Good. We'll do just about 3 more. That's it. Last 2. Good, guys. And one more time. And then you can just gently sit on up, take a break. I always like to take a deep breath after I do that, because we are mobilizing your upper back. It should help you to move your rib cage a little bit more, so it feels easier to breathe. That type of foam rolling for your upper back is amazing for anyone who has to spend any length of time sitting. And I recommend that you do about 2 to 5 minutes each day of that type of rolling if you spend most of your day sitting. So what we're going to do now is use that same setup to build in a little bit of light abdominal strengthening. So we all know how important our abdominals are to supporting our spine. This is a great setup to do so. So we're going to do the same thing. Hold that roller. Place your the bottom of your shoulder blades right along the roller, and then hold your head in your hands. Very important here to bring your elbows relatively narrow in your peripheral vision. So we're going to take a extension crunch, which means we're going to allow the spine to drape backwards, just like we did a moment ago. Exhale, lifting up just so you can see the top of your knees. I'm not actually curling forward, and I'm certainly not pulling my neck forward. I'm letting my sternum drape back, and exhale, my sternum lifts up. Inhale, drape back. Exhale, blow out. We lift up. So this is a small crunching moment. You should feel your core doing a little bit of work here. Now, if you
in the challenge, you're going to bring your legs to the tabletop position. Allow your arms to reach back and then lift on up. As you continue this upper body movement, try and keep your legs exactly still. You might find they also want to get closer. Keep them steady. And if you're having a hard time keep them steady, drop them back down to the floor as we do 4 more. Inhale, drape back. Exhale, lift up for 3. Inhale, drape back. Exhale, lift up for 2. Inhale, drape back. Exhale, lift up. Last time there. Excellent. And then we'll come right on up to sitting. Nice work, guys. So the next thing we're going to work into is our glutes. And our glutes are part of our support for our back when we bend over, when we do squats, certainly when we do heavy lifting. So you're going to take the roller, bringing it right underneath your hips, and take a seat on top of the roller. We'll do one side at a time. I'm going to start on my left side if you guys would like to follow along. So from here, take your left hand onto the floor behind the roller, and you're going to turn your body gently to the left. So most of the weight is on your left hip, and it should be the meaty part of the muscle. So if you are right on a bone right now, it's not going to feel great. You want to find yourself on top of the muscle, and then just gently start to roll back and forth. Okay, so I'm using both my legs and my shoulder to give me a little bit of support here. Now, our glutes are a fairly big muscle. You can kind of keep yourself a little bit more oriented up to the ceiling to get the more central part of your glute, or you can roll to the side to get a little bit more into the lateral side part of your hip. And different people are going to be tight in different zones, so you find what feels best for your body. If you want to put a little bit more body weight into this side, take your right ankle on top of your left leg and continue that rolling. For some people, this might be too intense. You can take that leg down. And I always say with stretching and with this kind of rolling, if the intensity is too much, your body is actually going to start to tighten up and guard, which takes away the benefit of what we're trying to get here. So you should feel, certainly not comfortable, but you should feel like your body can tolerate this movement. Now, if you find a particular spot that's super tight, you can always pause and hold, or some people may find just moving back and forth is a little bit more tolerable in this setup. So we'll just spend another moment here. I usually aim for 1 to 2 minutes per side, depending how tight each side is. And then we're going to switch to the right. So now my right hand will come down, and I'm going to gently rotate and turn my body to the right side. So I'm just rolling through the right glute. For me, this side is quite a bit tighter, so I will not take this second option of lifting the leg, but you can certainly do so if you would like to add a little bit of body weight. If you feel like any numbness or tingling or sharp pains, it may be that you are rolling right over the bone or where there is a nerve. Just adjust a little bit so that you can feel like you are rolling on the muscle itself. And that's our goal here, is to loosen up the muscle surrounding our hip joint, which should help to support our back a little bit more. That's excellent here, guys. Gently breathing, check in with your shoulder posture by dropping your shoulder away from your ear on that right side. We'll roll for just another moment. Good. And then you're going to take that roller out from your bottom, but leave it underneath your thighs. We're going to roll your hamstring muscles next. So your hamstring is the muscle on the back of your thigh bone. It also provides a similar support to the glute muscle. And the sciatic nerve also runs along the course of the back of our leg. So this can also help with any nerve mobility issues. So we're going to take the hands now about 6 to 8 inches behind your bottom. Try straightening your elbows and opening up your shoulders. Keeping the knees softly bent, we're going to roll right to the base of our hips and then down just above our knees. So this is a fairly long muscle, so you do want to try and roll along the length of the entire muscle to first just assess where are those tight spots. Now you might say, okay, I feel really tight down near my knees, but not near my hips. And then you spend the rest of class just working on that zone. But I want you to assess the full length of the muscle first. If you have a lot of wrist discomfort here, try keeping your shoulders open. You can actually lower onto your forearms if needed. It's a little bit harder there on the distribution of weight to your legs, so I would recommend staying on your hands if you can tolerate it, but that is an option available to you. Now, just like we did to put a little more body weight, you can cross your right ankle on top of your left to bias your left side, or vice versa. Again, you might find that one leg is a bit tighter than the other, and don't be afraid to spend a little bit more time on that side. That's okay, and that's a good way to customize this class for your body. Now, the other thing to note is that our hamstrings are actually made up of 3 small muscles, and they go from the outside to the inside of the backside of our leg. So you can gently roll your legs from the inside to the outside and just assess any differences you feel there. You might find that you need to spend a little bit more time on the outside of your left leg and the inside of your right. So we'll feel that out. We'll spend just another moment or two here before we then build in a little bit of strengthening for these same muscles using the roller. Good, guys. And we'll take our last big breath here before bringing the hips down. And we're going to take the roller now underneath the arches of our feet. Now, if you would like to take a little challenge, you can roll down onto the mat to lie back and then pull that roller in so that your knees are bent a bit deeper. You can also just lie down and find any comfortable position resting onto the mat. Now, before we go into, we're going to actually lift our hips in a bridge. I want you to press the tops of your feet into the roller. And I know you guys can't see that. This is what's called an isometric movement. So I feel those hamstrings we just worked, as well as the glute muscles, pressing down into the roller. So they're activated here already. Without moving the roller, arms down by your side, see if you can lift your hips up and gently lower back down. Exhale to lift the hips up and inhale to softly lower back down. If you are getting cramping here, try hugging your inner thighs together lightly to give yourself a little bit of extra support. You can also, at any point, just bring your feet onto the mat and continue with that same bridging exercise. We'll do 4 more. We lift. Lower back down. That's it, guys. Last 3. Exhale, lift, and lower back down. We have 2 more. Lower back to the mat. And last time here, we lower back down. Good. And then you can extend the legs out in a way. We will try a similar abdominal challenge to come back up to sitting. So reach your arms long back behind you. Fingertips reach on up to the ceiling. And then we will roll, coming all the way on up to sitting. Now, if that's not possible, go ahead and just press yourself on up to sitting, see what feels best for your body. So from this position, we're now going to take the roller in front of us. We'll try rolling out the front side of our leg. So that's our quad muscle. So the easiest way to set up here is to bring the roller close to your knees, lower down onto your forearms, so that the roller goes right underneath your thigh muscles, and then have your toes resting on the floor behind you. And my roller is a little crooked there, so I'm just going to line that up. Now, in this setup here, we are working to put pressure on the thigh bones, but I want you guys to pay attention to your core. So if your back is sagging here, lift your ribs away from the mat. Treat this like you are doing a plank. The beginner version of rolling along your thighs is to keep your toes down as you walk your arms and toes front to back to roll along the length of your quad muscle. If you can tolerate it, you can lift your feet And just push and pull with your elbows to draw your head forward over your fingertips and then back behind your shoulders. Our quad muscle, just like the hamstring, goes right from our hips all the way to the top of the knees. So go ahead and try to find that full length here. And once again, you'll find one side is a little bit tighter than the other. So feel free to focus a little bit more by crossing one ankle on top of the other to bias your weight more towards one side. Now, our quad is actually made up of 4 small muscles. That's why it's called the quad, and they do span the front of the thigh bone, similar to the hamstring. So you can gently roll your hips to one side or the other to get a little bit more attention to the inside or outside part of that muscle group. If you need a break at any time, again, place your feet down and you can continue that rolling with a little bit more support, or use that rolling to help walk maybe a little bit lower onto that muscle group here. And again, we aim for about a minute or 2 on each side. We will go ahead and I'm just going to move back a tiny bit so you guys can continue to see. We'll spend just another 15 to 20 seconds on the quad muscles here before we finish up. Good, dropping the shoulders down away from the ears. That's it, guys. We have 2 more here. And last time, just like this. And then you can place your knees down, sit back, and come on up and take a gentle moment's pause. So our last stretch that we're going to do using the roller is one for rotation. So this is to help improve the mobility of twisting or turning our spine. We're going to take the roller lengthwise on the right side of your mat. And then we'll set up in the all-fours position next to your roller. With the roller on the right side of your mat, you're going to take your left hand under your right one and place it on top of the roller. If you need any extra padding for your knees or your wrist, feel free to roll up your mat a few extra times here and give yourself that little bit of support. So once your left hand is on the roller, you're going to push the roller away from you, bending your right elbow, and then coming back up. You exhale to push the roller away from you, letting your neck and shoulder drop onto the mat and gently coming back up. So I'm going to show you guys from the front here as well. So you can see a little bit, I'm starting in that cross position, pushing the roller out and gently coming back up. So this can feel like a fairly intense stretch. I want you guys to go slowly, working within the range of motion that's comfortable for your body. And if you feel better just pausing and breathing here, you can do that as well. We'll try just twice more on this side, keeping the hips lifted. This also doubles as a nice roll for the forearm of your left side. And our last one here. And then gently come on up. We're going to do the same thing. I will just turn so you guys can see with the roller now on the left side of your mat. So your hands are falling underneath your shoulders. Your knees are underneath your hips. Taking the right hand under your left arm, place it on top of the roller. Go ahead and press the roller away, gently turning and coming back up. Making sure that you are not holding your breath here is really important to get the best stretch, because we are stretching through our upper back, therefore our rib cage. So by holding our breath, we actually restrict the ability to get a deep stretch. Good. We'll do just 4 more on this side. Press and reach the right hand out. Pull back through the center. Allow your head, neck, and shoulders to rest down if needed. We have 2 more. We push, roll, reach away, come back. That's it, guys. And last time here. And come back through the center. We will finish class with a couple of community breaths together. So you can find a comfortable seat in any position that feels good for your body. In fact, if you feel good standing up, go ahead and do that here as well. Take a moment to just settle in, taking that nice deep breath, feeling how your body hopefully feels a bit looser after all that work we've done. We'll now take an inhale breath in, lifting and lengthening the fingertips up to the ceiling, and an exhale breath out to release and lower the arms down. Another inhale breath in, lifting and lengthening, with an exhale breath to lower and drop the arms down. Last time here, inhale, exhale, release, and lower the arms down. And you can give yourself a little pat on the back for finishing our foam roll.